Welcome back to the most difficult series on the channel, not because of gameplay, it's a visual novel after all, but because you just don't know how to approach this commentary-wise. It's just all over the place. Everything is all over the place. In the last episode alone, we now have introduced the concept that there are going to be time-displaced versions of the same character living alongside each other. Hell, we know she dies in the future already because of the start of Sekigahara's. We've seen like the entire life of MORIMURA, and now we're in 2188, and we're seeing two characters that we've seen before, Natsuno and Miura, now in space? What is even happening? How can we talk about this? Nobody knows what's going on.
I know. I figured it out.
Oh, you did? That was quick.
Yeah. No, it's pretty simple, actually. It's you got your... I think it has something to do with how all the characters are multiple versions of themselves. And so actually there's only like one character who's all of them and just time displaced or something. And
with that revelation in the last episode, the All You Zombies comparison has just made more and more sense with time. I mean, I knew it would eventually, but...
I mean,
I finally hit it, and I didn't even bring it up in the last episode.
And it's funny because, like, you know, I feel like we know that there's going to be, just from how these stories tend to work, is that it is kind of going to come back to, like, All You Zombies, where all of these characters, not necessarily in the sense that they're all literal characters, I'm sure there's at least 10 original characters between the 13 Sentinels, probably, you know, hell, 13. But there's also exactly 13 characters in the entire world, is what I would guess. Or if there's not, it's like, you know, maybe.
It does definitely feel like it now that we know that Morimura and Ida are two of the characters that we've already seen before.
Yeah. So the only question
is... It's like we don't really have a whole lot of very central characters that exist outside of them. We're going to be introduced to sort of a new one in this episode with Tamao Karabe, who's Jiro's grandmother in 1985, but that's still... she doesn't even appear in 1985, which is sort of a weird thing.
Yeah.
She's like always on vacation, I think, for the entire game or something.
That's pretty weird.
And then, what we have, there was like Fuyasaka's friend. That's like the only other character that I can even think of. Shiba, I suppose, is not actually part of the 13 Sentinels. He's Jiro's Ryuji.
Well, even though it does feel like even in those cases, it's like, well, they're still going to have some intertextuality. It's just that they're not literally, maybe they just literally won't be one of the Sentinels. Like, I don't assume that every single kaiju is piloted by a different one of these kids. You know what I mean? Like, I assume that
they were. That's the sort of thing that's not out of the realm of possibility. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Like, however, I do think it's what I would say is because that's almost too tight. I would guess it would be something like more. This is speculating because I haven't gotten this far. But like, it would be one of the people turns into a villain or becomes a villain and sends the kaiju back. And
we do already know that does happen. Remember Shinomone?
I don't. This is too confusing to me.
That's the sick girl. She saw the future recording of herself being all like, I hate humanity and I'm going to kill them.
Oh, yeah.
With the terraforming robots.
Yeah, so there you go. And it's like, we've got kind of an explanation right there. It's not a perfect explanation, but it's reasonable. And we assume that the aliens are from actually the future, or all of this is in a simulation. There's a lot of different ways you can go, but basically All You Zombies is the keystone here. Like,
yeah, more or less, right?
Right. It's just a question of how everyone is actually the main character, or how there's only actually 5 characters, or whatever. Or there's exactly
whatever it's going to eventually turn out to be, because you know it's going to be something like that. I mean, I think that from episode 1, it kept saying everybody's dead and in purgatory or whatever, and I don't think this game has done anything to assuage me of that sort of idea.
Well, other than you having played the whole thing and knowing what the twist
Well,
is.
yes, I have played the whole thing, but you got to understand that I am affecting a persona right now of somebody who has not played the entire thing. Yeah. Look, I can answer all your questions that you could possibly have about the game right now if you wanted me to.
Yeah, no, and I understand. It's a performance thing. We're all like performing, man, in society and stuff.
The world's a stage.
And you know, we're just like damn old players and such. You know.
Yeah, we're all like damn Daniel.
Yeah.
Back at it again with the Cads.
So We're talking about like they're building the kaiju in 1944, and we know that, right? Like
we're building the Sentinels. They're building the Sentinels in 1944. The kaiju were built in the 2100s after they took over the automated factories, I believe. That more or less, whatever, you know, they're not literally sending the kaiju back in time. Apparently, whatever they did was hijack like the factories they have in the future to create them.
Okay. All right, yeah, I mean, what's it? Oh, I see. So they're bringing the knowledge back, and they're using materials from 1944.
Much like they're doing in 1944 here, where I think they're building Sentinels at this point in time, but or maybe they're just storing them here. I don't remember what exactly
Well, you have to think like
how the Sentinel project works in 1944.
Yeah, if you have the know-how, I feel like you wouldn't need too much computer technology to do that. Like you would only need like, you know, a few, like something that could fit in your pocket kind of thing, like a really powerful microchip, you know, graphics design thing that you put in your bag. Like you wouldn't, or you know, graphics card. You wouldn't need like that much technology to build a kaiju, or I'm sorry, for a Sentinel.
It's the schematic is all they need to bring back, but the Sentinels can also time travel. Don't forget about that.
Yeah.
That's that's the 3 ways, because remember we also had a second time gate get explained in the previous episode in the science room.
Oh yeah. See, and that's the thing is like you're trying to do this. You're trying to piece together this.
Anyway,
mystery.
here's Tamao.
Yeah. Oh, this is the grandma.
It's fine.
Yes, this is the grandmother. She's also a part of the story, sort of.
Okay.
Like, kind of?
Now, is Kiriko? Who's Kiriko? Like, do we know the name?
Kiriko Doji is Tsukasa Okina. He was the white-haired kid who we saw in the UFO palling around with Juro and Iori in the previous episode.
Oh, yeah.
He's also the one that is... Tsukasa is also the one that... more or less like kidnaps Hijiyama to 1985, as we saw back in the prologue.
Okay,
he's the guy who originally built the Sentinels.
Okay, see, I'm never gonna remember any of this, but I remember that I think Tsukasa is related to Mikasa. Oh no, we already did that.
You said that in the last episode.
I say that every time I hear it.
It's a name, you know. It's not even an uncommon name.
It's a good bit, and I stand by it.
No, it's not.
Oh.
I refuse.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna do the entire Ate the Bones thing again.
Okay. No, yeah, I guess if you say so, then I won't stand by this bit. It's not a big deal.
That's right. Fold over like a deck of cards. Have courage in your conviction. Come on, man.
No.
That's right.
Never.
I did that purely to bully you even harder.
I will never have courage in my convictions.
Fair enough. That's anyway, oh my god. So
this is like a
remember the Juro is not
take.
Actually it's due to the amnesia that maybe the idea is supposed to be that because she was already aware of characters intimately connected with the Sentinel project, that's why she chose to take in. For all we know, she has more knowledge than. Wait a second, Chihiro.
Chihiro. I remember that name.
Like Chihiro Morimura?
Oh, is that who that is? Okay.
Is there another Chihiro Morimura walking around here? Are you saying?
But wait, wasn't Chihiro Miura? Wasn't she like?
She really has
her
fingers in a lot of pies, or whatever that phrase is.
Wait, no.
Or in a lot of time periods, I guess.
So Morimura was also like Fuyusaka, who we just did. Like, is that right?
Yes, Fuyusaka is Morimura, who has been, I think, in like every time period in one way or another at this point, including one that's not even on the normal timeline, where she went back only 16 years ago.
But so Fuyusaka and Chihiro exist at the same, like, and they're both like 16 or whatever.
Some kind of flash.
It's this
Lightning.
video game.
So
Is something.
Humans maybe fuse together or something, or break apart.
Yeah, it's like the end of Time Bandits.
Humans fuse together. The sequel to Things Fall Apart.
Time Police. What was the one where the whatever? It doesn't matter.
Maybe
Okay.
Yep.
Not likely.
No, I did
And
the 13 Sentinels experience, everybody.
it's weird. Like maybe I just saw a god. Nah, probably
Chihiro's
not.
probably worried
It's
about
very
Is there anybody here who isn't Chihiro Morimura?
yeah. No, it's just me, Chihiro, alone in the dark. I miss you dreadfully. Reference.
Oh
All right.
my god.
State your name.
Oh yeah, this is a Natsuno's
I
thing.
know you're there.
I can't remember if we've already seen this. We did, right? We covered a lot of her stuff in the prologue.
We saw this scene, something like it in the prologue. Yes. If this,
Did we?
yes.
Have we done Natsuno's?
Yes, we saw. I
first-
remember. Shouldn't you be wearing pants? And then later we established that she's the pantsless girl who likes UFOs.
Yeah, but like, did we do the first half of her storyline, or was that just the prologue?
I don't know why you're here, but
I think we did
it's
her.
dangerous to be out
Yes.
this late on your own.
We can look this up right now. In fact, I want to go see.
I mean, we definitely.
'Cause I
did
should
that
have like
specific scene,
an
yeah.
MP3 for that.
My name is Keitaro
Kisaragi,
Miura.
Yugi,
I'm stationed at the
Yuki.
armory
I
nearby.
don't see anything for Natsuno.
Download a
So I was
video on
on my
the
way home.
MP4. All right.
So,
I mean, I suppose I can just go. I can.
You can literally
Yeah, I
go to
record
your
everything as MP4s.
Your channel, as I call it.
Natsuno Minami.
People talking about Dracula, getting a couple posts on
Tunnel to your account.
on the old Minecraft videos. I'm glad people enjoyed the Minecraft videos.
Kind of
Okay, yeah.
They were fun to do.
It's fun. I can tell you have fun.
Okay, here we go.
streaming that.
We have 7 episodes currently out of 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim.
Uh-huh.
what's that sound?
No, we have not done Natsuno. We've done Kisaragi,
Not no. Okay,
Karabe, Yuki, and Fuyusaka.
Okay. Yep, and then
It's just she featured a lot in the prologue, which is I think we thought that's what happened.
Bomb the factory.
uh-huh.
But that's near where the Karabe's live.
Yep.
Wow.
This is I told you that I started out this episode saying that this is the most difficult series that I've done, and I think that 13 minutes in right now, 13 Sentinels minutes in right now, that this is just proven to be the truth.
You know, I will say, I've kind of alluded to this on past versions of this recording. Oh yeah. But I think on some level, the non-linearity and stuff is something like
Do I
It-
have to?
I don't object to stories being difficult necessarily. Like, I mean, there's no reason why, you know, a linear story told from beginning, middle to end should be preferable if, you know, if we feel like it serves, if it's entertaining, if they're doing something interesting with it. I mean, I feel like they've given us a lot of images. It just feels in this specific case like it might be kind of a series of distractions. Like, you have to have a really good
I don't know.
punchline to this. Like, you know, you're doing all this setup. It better be an incredible. You have to have like the best
Stronger up ahead.
ever ending to justify this. And I feel like it's not going to be the best ever ending, and then it's going to be inevitably disappointing. And that's the
Well,
only.
taking off my persona of somebody who hasn't played the rest of the game,
This can't be happening.
man, that's the Karabe house, eh?
There's been a direct
Damn.
I wonder how they were able to rebuild that in 40 years. Yeah. Period.
That is actually impressive. I mean, that, and look at, like, that is, I mean, I think they did a good job with, like, these backgrounds. Like, this really does seem
I think it's pretty obvious that, well, we're dealing with multiple timelines, which I mean I think we kind of had an idea with that
I
with
see what you're
Juro
saying.
earlier, but
I see. So you,
this
is-
more or less confirms it because the city does not look like this in 40 years.
so just mechanically, like, I feel like, well, it's not impossible. You know, there was a post-war economic boom, and a lot of stuff got rebuilt. But, like, more to the point, I feel like they're going. It's kind of an iterated.
Yeah,
like-
there's Chihiro, by the way.
Where's
Oh,
the
wow.
house on?
Wait.
Yeah, that's right.
Right here.
So what?
Keitaro-san.
Tamao-san.
So that's Chihiro, the younger one.
That's Chihiro Morimura.
Oh, this is so
All
confusing.
gone.
Yep.
And this is still 1940.
How does this? So why is she 16 years old in 1985 and also has a different name?
Yeah.
But Chihiro-chan ran off alone.
And then also in the future,
She was going back
where she
there.
has the same name, but is also 16 years old.
Now, is it possible we're dealing with an unreliable narrator here? No, I'm just. That would
Oh
be
my
too-
god,
that
if they
would-
threw that in with along with everything else. Well, nobody's narrating this. Nobody is narrating this game.
Well, maybe the people who's got behind the camera are narrating it for us.
Are you saying that Vanillaware also doesn't know what's happening in their own story?
I think they know how to draw anime, and that's
They sure do. You know what? If there's one thing Vanillaware knows how to do, yep, that's American weapons. We have them all over America. The museum right down the street. You can see all of the gigantic four-legged spider robots that America has built.
so. I was, it's funny because before this, I was going to say this feels like an iterative thing where this is the original timeline, supposedly like our timeline, where, there's no mechs whatsoever. There's no,
Yes.
and it's 19.
With this,
And-
I thought you said there's no Mets, and I'm like, yep, they got rid of the baseball team.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, everybody.
These kaiju, like, they murdered Mr. Met. They ripped him off. He's the baseball.
Oh my God, no! You would think that the tough leather exterior of him would be able to withstand at least a couple hits, but I suppose they are literally so large you can even see them
Well,
in the
the
background.
thing
right
is,
now.
every organism has a weak spot, and they tore him limb from limb. So it wasn't the baseball part never broke.
And the weak spot of Mr. Met is winning a game.
It actually took him like 10 days for just the head to starve. But
Tamao-san.
Anyway,
so
yeah, take care of Chihiro because
Stay with her and do as you're
anyway, I
we
was
certainly don't already know how she died, or actually we don't know how she died, but she definitely died.
you to look after Natsuko-san too.
Can I ask you to look over the other character
I'm going
that's
back
going to be
the
important in the future? This is
Yeah.
such a confusing
Oh my
thing.
God.
So I thought they were going to do it where there's this original timeline where no one developed future tech, but then they get it sent to the. There's a whole thing where they have to send it back to the past in order to build it, and then there's another iteration where Japan
Yes.
gets the kaiju. But it looks like in the quote-unquote original timeline, there's obviously the Americans have the kaiju from the future. So it's very confusing. So you've already got there's another doubling of possibilities. You know what I mean?
Yes.
or really multiplying, because if there are alternate timelines, anything goes, right? This could be like some Primer
Well,
shit.
hey, at least I got the prologue cleared.
Have you seen
That's cool, right?
Have you seen Primer?
I have not seen Primer. I know about Primer.
Okay.
though.
Well, yeah, it's Primer. That logic.
It's Primer.
That becomes very twisted, the logic in that. So that's all I meant, like the timelines. It's the most.
Now, I'm just curious. In that movie, was it as hard to follow
It was
as this?
I think it was intense.
Not even like hard to follow. When you find out that characters have 4 different incarnations of themselves, seemingly across
This place isn't too crowded.
many timelines.
So I think that was meant to be. You weren't literally supposed to go back. I mean, I think it was made so you could do it. Like you weren't necessarily supposed to go back and reconstruct everything into a canonical timeline. That was just supposed to be sort of like how when we bring in technology into the world, when we bring new ideas into the world, like the engineering impulse to do that, the obsession with it. When we do that, we also put in motion things that we can't control and that are terrifying to us. The idea of all these different timelines where horrible things happen, or just things changing in drastic and unpredictable ways, is meant to be, like that's a critique of like engineers and their obsession with progress at any cost without really thinking through what they're doing. Because they just go through and they make time travel happen, and they don't really think about what the consequences of that will be. They just
I mean, that's a very classic type of character, archetype called mad scientist.
yeah, or the Jurassic Park quote. You know what I'm talking about.
It only ever
We were
felt
too busy
Blah, blah,
thinking
blah,
about
blah,
how
blah,
that we
blah,
didn't
blah.
think about if we should.
Yeah.
at that moment.
And there's gonna be a new Jurassic Park movie. Did you watch any of the ones that came after the 1993 classic?
I think I watched Lost World.
Oh, was it any good? I have not watched anything except for the 1993 classic.
I mean, I think it was good. It wasn't as good as the original, but it was pretty good. Like, it was the same technological level, maybe a little bit better technologically. It just wasn't as
Wow, really?
inspired.
I don't know, man. 1993. That movie looked great.
1993 is canonically the height of technology before the kaiju started to emerge in our timeline.
Yeah, that makes sense. They saw that we had developed Doom, and they're like, oh man, we cannot let the video games develop past this point because this is the peak.
Now, is this 1944 that we're watching? Is this the 21? This is
Yes.
2025.
As of right now, 1985 is not currently on fire.
Okay.
I think as of right now, 1985 is the only time period that is not currently on fire that is accessible by the main characters.
Okay, so, I mean, but this isn't like 2025, though, is my point. Like, it's actually 1945.
No, it's got a different color filter on, as you made the observation in the last episode.
Okay, fair enough.
See, 1944 has the color filter of red.
Well, you know, I mean, and I'm giving them crap about that, but that is a nice little touch. Like, I mean, if they hadn't done a good job with it, like, it would have been a little bit embarrassing. But they did a good job with the color filters. It looks pretty good. Like, the graphics are pretty
Reached
solid.
its operating limit.
Oh yeah, no, I think everything looks really good, really nice in this game.
Where am I?
I think Vanillaware overall is well known for their graphical good lookingness.
So, as somebody who's you've experienced the entire game, and now you're experiencing it for
I have.
the
Oh,
second,
let me take off the mask again.
the second or the third time. How do you feel about, like? Do you feel like, obviously it's annoying how they're unfolding the plot in this obscure way, but like, how do you feel about these things? Do you feel like you're getting nostalgic, or are you like, oh yeah, that's how they tried to confuse me then? I hated that.
Buildings are common.
I hate this game. Is that how you
Yeah,
feel?
more or less that second one, where it's like, yeah, okay, well,
Consciousness.
that's how they did that. Yeah, all right, that's how they set up that. I kind of forgot about it because there were so many other things going on past this point. But yeah, right, they did do that, didn't they?
Very much time could have
I'm
passed.
worried that if I replay Danganronpa or Zero Escape, it's going to be exactly this feeling. Like, I'm going to be like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing now, and it's kind of
I ended
annoying.
up on U.S. soil.
Well,
If that's the
It's-
case, fine.
we have a lot of things that are going to happen in this game. Let's say
Okay,
that.
and it feels like they are always.
There's specific characters that I am withholding from you until we get through most of the other ones, specifically because of that.
Now, I don't know if this is fair, but it kind of feels like there's a lot of stuff that's always happening in the future. Like, is there an actual point where things start happening, or is it just that there's so much time happening? Like, there's so much, like, content left that we have to do that it's going to be like, well,
There's
like, does
oh
it
man.
pick up? Like, whether or not you like it.
No, eventually we're just.
Cannot get
I mean,
their hands on the
it does not pick up or slow down.
That's very odd.
national crisis.
It just kind of keeps, you're going to kind of keep at this same level of what the entire game.
Self-destruct.
I mean,
Except as they continue to compound the stuff, you're going to be like, well, okay, really? We're doing that now?
yeah, and you start to see, well, okay, this is a blind alley. This is something that they're telling me that's not true. This is just annoying. And then, okay, this one is important.
Okay, so
This
that
is
thing that we
actually
thought
foreshadowing.
was important wasn't important, or that thing we didn't think was important was extremely important.
Yeah, and I mean, we faced
And
this.
it's hard to say because they're throwing so many things at you in every one of these storylines that it's really hard to sit. Like,
Soldiers show up.
once again, we've seen 4 different copies of MORIMURA of different ages in every one of the time periods. We've even seen her dead. We've even seen that she has in fact died. And it's like,
yeah,
in a different story, any one of those things would have been the most important part of the entire story.
yeah, it feels like they're like
Here, it's like we also saw future characters in 2188 talking to each other,
Named after my home.
waxing nostalgic about the 1940s. And again, that would be a huge thing in like a different sort of piece of media, but in here it's like that's just one of the many things that has been happening.
Everything is heightened, so nothing feels heightened.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to react to that sort of stuff. I mean, these are huge revelations, but everything's a huge revelation in 13 Sentinels.
Yeah, it's one just gigantic series, one stream of just unfolding revelations, and that's the experience of playing this game. But the thing is, that only works.
Everybody
if
does love a good twist in well, just about anything. It makes you rethink everything you know about the piece of media, but we don't know anything about the piece of media from the very beginning.
Exactly, and we don't have an intuitive like grasp of these characters as human beings, and so it's like other than a little bit of banter.
They try. They definitely try. We saw the stuff with them eating crepes and everything in the last episode, but it's so different from underground UFO time travel, giant robot kaiju.
Wait, what were they eating? Say that again.
The crepes.
You couldn't have known that unless you have actually been to Mementos. So you're one of the evil ones. I figured out the twist.
That's right.
It was you all along. What was that word? Pancakes? You used the word pancakes? Because you couldn't have known about pancakes unless you were hearing Morgana the cat talking to those girls. Because that's
70 episodes ago.
Yeah, in the board meeting yesterday. So anyway, I don't mean to go off track, but yeah, no, it's just kind of. That's the twist. It's like you're in on it. You actually,
you know, speaking of just like the biggest twist of the entire.
I think you like this game, and you're trying to mislead me into thinking it's bad, and that's why you brought me along so I can get like.
I mean, you know, that would be a way to do that. That would certainly be an interesting twist for this series.
Like you just like, oh yeah, haha, it's just like Persona. Yeah, no, it's terrible.
It is Persona. Little did you know that this was actually a sequel to Persona 5, and me making that joke about Fuyusaka being Ann Takamaki. Well, as it turns out, there's one more version of her.
I like that every one of the scenes with the juvenile and the friend ends up with somebody punching somebody else. Like I know
Menji Ogata.
Like they're really
How can you not
establishing-
remember all of the characters' names?
I'm sorry, not juvenile, a delinquent. Sorry, that is. I think of
That's delinquent boy.
Yeah,
We have delinquent boy and delinquent girl.
I think of juvenile delinquent.
Rich boy was also
Yes.
in that scene, and right now we're watching Boy with Hat.
All right, and we have seen this.
This is Rich Boy's apartment,
Yes.
whose name is Shu Amaguchi. I know the characters' names, but I've also played through the entire game.
Yeah, this is some kind of lab. I mean, this is one of those things where it's like this would be interesting if we were playing through this this was the first character, like because we don't know.
I'm pretty sure it could have been.
I mean, it could have been, but it's like they didn't force that order on us, so this isn't interesting. It's not compelling. We don't know the whole scene where the screen.
We either know too much or we don't know anything.
Exactly, we don't know the right amount for these things to help us.
Else the audience do not understand what we should be feeling.
Also, like, he's shocked about the 1985, you know, like, I mean, he knows that the calendar says 1985. Why wouldn't he just, like, you know, realize that he's in 1985 by some strange accident?
Well, what sort of... He doesn't know about time travel yet. We know that this is a time travel storyline.
I suppose.
They got that big dumb graphic with the clock going backwards when they time travel. That's probably my favorite part of the game so far. It's no, you know, saying that we have all the time in the world and then our eyes turn into clocks and start spinning backwards, but it's pretty good.
And I just like that there's a notebook or a book open to, like, oh yeah, 1945, the year of Japan's unconditional surrender. 40 years ago.
Well, he is looking through a history book, which I swear that this scene happened in the prologue, but I guess it didn't.
No, I think it did, actually. I actually remember this. I actually think we've actually gone through this scene. Literally.
Oh my god, I don't know. I don't know anymore.
1951. US Japan.
Anyway, here's your the history of Japan for this episode.
Yeah. All of the stuff that happened.
How far does this go? I don't know, maybe up to 1985.
What did the calendar say?
See?
Huh?
You're on the same wavelength as the writers.
1980.
Now, can you predict what's about to happen in the. By the way, hey, look, there's a I think it's Gundam up on top of the bookshelf there. That's fun.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Could it really be?
I mean, again, like I think this would actually be a decent like first character to go through. Seriously, like I mean, I'm actually
What I don't. Would it be? It started out with a scene occurring in 2188.
Oh, that's right. No, that's never mind. I was gonna say I was like thinking like the 1945.
Because when you see that scene, how can you think about like a lot of the other scenes that have happened?
No,
in the
I
game
actually
and
I take
not
back
just
what I
remember
said.
that's how this started.
No, I actually I take that back. No, I was thinking about the 1945 to 1985. Like this would be a nice like unfolding like thing that's happening, and
And we still also have Chihiro Morimura from. I guess at this point in time you wouldn't know that she's Fuyusaka. Or that Fuyusaka is Morimura, whichever one it might be.
See, again, it's like
A apparently thought that that Fuyusaka is originally Morimura, but it could be the other way around. Who knows?
no.
Well, I mean, I know, but
No.
oh, I forgot to put my mask back on. Okay, here we go. I mean, who knows?
Has Miura been in the Sentinel yet? Like we saw that.
Yes. As of this point in time, that's how he got transported to 1985.
Okay, yeah.
Because he is part of the Sentinel program that was in 1945, and because of that, they were using the Sentinels to fight the Kaiju invasion that was happening at that time. But the Sentinels can time travel, and I guess it did that like as an emergency type of thing to get him out of there because they were losing.
And his friend is not aware, the friend, the rich kid, is not aware that we've come from the past. Okay.
Either that or he just doesn't believe.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Because of course it is a very unbelievable sort of. So like, do you think that the characters in this story who have not been watching the other stories unfold are gonna understand this any better?
I do feel like this, other than the 188 scene, this feels like this actually makes quite a bit of sense as just an intro, and I feel like this is just kind of a flaw in the way that the game is. I hate to
2188 and Chihiro Morimura.
I hate to present it as normatively like that, but like I feel like this would be a good introduction to what's happening. Actually, the 2188 scene was cryptic enough where you don't know that there's a bunch of mind-blowing stuff happening other than that. Like, you just know.
I suppose.
So
but still, it's like that's a weird enough scene that it's like, how can you just ignore that?
Yeah, no, and I mean, I think in a way that's kind of good sci-fi, like where you give someone something really, really strange, and then you show them the past, which seems incompatible with it, all that stuff, and it's like, okay, I can see this, like, that's interesting, and let's figure out how this happens. But they just did this with. I feel like maybe they had a good story going for like.
Do you have any idea what the 2188 scenes might represent as of right now? By the way.
Yeah, like so far.
I mean, as so far, I think like the most meaningful one that we've got is Shinomone's scene where she's like, "I hate humanity, and I'm gonna send back all the terraforming robots."
Yeah.
Don't get discouraged.
We've gotten a couple of them, right? At this point,
What it takes.
I think so. Yeah.
I think we had one more. Did we?
Maybe.
I never actually
I don't know.
I don't know.
But
Oh no, the mask is falling off.
warp somehow. But it could just be a local effect.
oh, so that's an actual thing that's happening in. That's not.
With the
just-
2188. Oh, yeah, no, we're not only going to get one of those scenes in the entire game. That's going to that's going to be a thing that happens
okay.
throughout the game.
Okay.
With more explanation given as to what the hell they're supposed to represent.
Okay.
Because after all, that is a time period that is outside of the time traveling stuff right now, kind of.
Hurry up,
Aside from the
Yuri-chan.
they can't travel to the 2188s,
Looks like the school's
80s, 2180s,
Yeah. In the year
2180,
2188.
as you probably are thinking right now.
Huh.
I can tell what you're thinking.
Hey, hold on.
Yeah, that's that girl who's interested in UFOs.
No, I was gonna say it's just like I know what you're thinking. You want to do the AD thing again.
Oh yeah. No, wait. Let's.
You're Natsuno Minami, right?
Not right now.
The one I met at the shrine. What are
Well, why not? I mean, we got like about like 25 minutes left here.
I'm getting older. I'm getting more mature with my comedy. I don't just, leave it every
In less than 24 hours since we recorded the last one.
24 hours older, 24 hours wiser.
Find you anywhere.
Because it's just like, yeah, we recorded this one.
51.
We recorded the Fuyasaka one at 8 p.m. yesterday
Where have you been?
because we did Sexy Brutality.
So
first,
she
of
just
course.
referenced Area 51. So they must have been here for a while and had enough time to converse about. So he's accepted that this is 1985. Okay.
Yes, I mean, I guess this would be happening like the next day or whatever.
I feel like it's
And
not
Miura's
happening.
just kind
the
of gotten
next-
over it because this is not that kind of story where he can
Yeah.
remain a fish out of water for a very long time.
I think they're establishing that the time has actually passed since they've gotten to that.
It's hard to say because each
No,
one of
I think
Miura's...
that they're using the dialogue to establish that because they're saying, "Oh yeah, well, this is like Area 51," or like I feel like that's indicating that they've become familiar with the customs of this time. And she's saying like, "Oh, I can't really bring a boy to my house," so she's aware of some of the customs. It's not just.
She's from the 1980s.
Oh, she is. Okay, never mind. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, never mind. I take
she's-
that back. Okay, so that again, very hard to make.
No, she just made a quick jaunt back with the robot. You remember the robot, buddy?
Oh, so now they're calling it a flashback.
Well, this one is a flashback.
I
They did
know.
time travel back at this point in time because you remember at the time that the storyline is currently taking place.
Oh, I know. I know.
At the time the storyline is currently taking place, 1944 has been destroyed by kaiju.
I'm sure Uncle isn't mad about it anymore.
I just.
Okay.
You're definitely reminding me of David Cross in the the pre-tape Colin show. Just you
I
remember
knew
that
that we were going to have
sketch
pre-tape Colin show
that we
references in this
constantly
fucking...
reference?
Didn't we say that we can't reference Mr. Show, but we have to reference The Simpsons now?
Oh well, it's a really.
So give me a Simpsons reference instead.
No, I'm just picturing you going through. No,
I am like 99% sure that in the first episode that we said that we were not going to
Just
reference Mr. Show. in
just
this.
like going bald, explaining. Okay, so diegetically, this is happening
So
before.
that we were
but
not going to reference
chronologically,
Mr. Show, but instead we were only going to reference The Simpsons
This is
instead.
this is a chronological flashback and a diegetic flashback, but it's not involving time travel. It's before the time travel ever happened.
You can have
and
memories of dreams of the future. That was what the last episode was called.
if you
It only happened because I told Chihiro-chan about my
if you
dream.
bring back there have been things that have been brought back, but they're the knowledge to build the tech for the kaiju. It's not
To be awake right now.
not the
But that
characters
happened
going back
prior
in
to
time.
this point in time because 1944, as of now, has been destroyed.
Whereas other flashbacks.
Okay, when I say 1944, it's like
He's been sharing some
Japan and I guess presumably the entire world has been destroyed by the kaiju
ever since I started taking it.
uh,
I keep
in the 1944 timeline that is currently accessible.
just dreams
Also, Tamao is having wacky dreams, probably of the future.
that I just
What?
remember.
Oh no, she was more of a meaningful character than we thought, and I forgot that they introduced that idea this early.
Well, we actually. Well, it's not like we
Considering that I ended an episode and chided
episode-
you about that because you were focusing on it too much.
Yeah. Trying to be, even though I had no way of knowing
This stupid,
one way or the other.
this stupid game.
Turn on the radio.
Why you gotta be so complex?
We had a prior take of this that we ended after like 9 minutes. 9 minutes that we won't get back.
Oh,
We're-
whatever. I'm going through this game essentially 3 times between like the editing and everything.
I understand, yeah. So, anyway, this is a,
It's like if you want to talk about waste of times, I also did the entire Persona 5 series.
yeah. Well, we constantly reference that. Like, you say that, like,
We could have just not done
you
that.
could have, you say, like, talking
There
about.
was no compulsion that I had to finish that series outside of a code of conduct that only I answer to myself for.
And is completely internally inconsistent and completely just, like, meaningless. You know, like.
I would say my insistence on finishing every series that I start is pretty consistent.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Minami-san.
It's consistent.
Pretty really consistent, if anything, because I don't think there's any series that I haven't ended except for Goner 2. We got to go get back to that at some point.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. That is extremely consistent. Never mind. Yeah.
I've got a favor to ask.
And then I guess eventually I should finish the bonus super level for purple, but that is also at the same time I finished the game.
What is the
It's the bonus super level for good reason.
What is the significance of Jiro's grandma? Do we know that yet?
Jiro's grandmother is the woman that we were just talking to in 1944.
Yeah, but we knew that. Like, we knew that we were talking to her. Like, okay.
What is her significance? I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
Like, there's nothing. I mean, aside from the fact that she's a character that's introduced, that is seemingly not one of the characters that have already been introduced.
So what is the thing on the top right, by the way? Like the meter.
The what now?
The meter that shows up on the top right when you're able to move.
Kinda complicated, but yeah.
It's like a bunch of like blue bars.
What?
It's not showing up now.
Are you sure that's not on your screen? Oh
No, it's not. It's part of the game. It's part of the HUD.
Just let him stay until your granny's back.
It's just not showing up right now.
In exchange.
Oh, that's yeah, that's okay. That is
The details don't matter.
it represents interactable stuff. I don't remember. I think it represents, you know how you have the thought cloud thing? The green ones are the ones that I have yet to see in this, that I have yet to like examine in this
I live super close by.
scene. And the red ones I think you can interact with other people with. That's the one that represents you can use this on another character.
I like that we're just like, oh yeah, or I'll tell everyone that you're living with a girl. You'll be expelled. But it's just like, okay, whatever. This is such a...
They've established this many times.
I love that. Just like, yeah, I know. It's just like this silly like anime like contrivance. Like where we've got.
I hate anime contrivances. We went over them many times in Persona 5. Speaking of that, I hate dumb anime tropes.
Well, I mean, it's. Man, I actually love them. I think it's just so funny that they're just like doing like all this stuff with time travel, and it's just like, well, okay, how do we get a room at Karabi's house? Well, let's threaten him. We'll blackmail him with that he's living with a girl.
No, it's not blackmail. Oh my god, we'll actually see exactly how she got a room later on.
And I mean, yeah, exactly. No, and I mean,
it's a thing.
Yeah. And I actually think that's really charming that they do that just ridiculous contrivance, even though we know for a fact that there's time travel and robots and all this other stuff, and it just hinges on a little character detail, a little cultural detail. I don't know.
You do, huh?
Oh yeah, I guess the reason why they don't have the grandmother in 1985 specifically is because otherwise it would become clear that these are separate timelines, because once again the house is extant in 1985 when it is clearly not in 1945.
Well, maybe they rebuilt it. I don't know.
They rebuilt it in the exact same way that it looked back in 1985. Like the school, for example.
And good architects. I don't know.
The school, for example, is like the old school building is still there and is like 40 years old.
They probably have like blueprints at the architect's office or whatever, which didn't burn down. So then they were able to reconstruct exactly what it looked like. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, exactly. In the exact way.
Yeah. Exactly. Localized entirely.
They even have it furnished in the same exact way, where there's like a TV where the radio was.
May I see it? No. Actually, yes. It's right.
Exactly.
It's
I mean, yeah, they also do this whole thing about like, oh, well, that pillar was damaged in the past and whatever, but clearly it's a different timeline. We get it.
Yeah,
we get it.
No, I mean, it's fine that you're going through it. I mean, again, like, this is one of those things where it's like, it's reasonable to talk about that. I realize that they're...
The 1944 was destroyed by giant robots.
I realize that.
That's maybe the more important thing.
I'm saying...
Oh, boy, here we go again.
As somebody who's not very smart, I'm glad that they're pointing out that it's an alternate timeline.
Or maybe it's not different timelines, and people from the future are using those terraforming robots to recreate the houses. Is that a thing?
That actually would. That Two's pretty consistent. I mean, and that's a good point. Like, you mentioned that they're terraforming robots. So they could theoretically be terraforming.
They could theoretically. I mean, that's...
I mean...
It's so dumb, though. It's such a dumb concept. Why would you do it like that?
Well, I don't know. It's ironic.
I guess.
They're terraforming.
I mean, I'm trying to like throw out these alternate things, but it's like they are. We do know they're terraforming robots.
Like, no, that would be stupid. They'd never do
build.
They might.
More or less. But then again, that happens quite a bit now, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Professor Karabe, yes.
Professor Karabe? Wait a second.
Huh?
Oh, that's right. Professor Karabe.
Yes, was born in the 21st century, and then as it turns out, robots destroyed her house back in the 1940s. And then I guess you guys rebuilt it?
So they're establishing that she was born in 2060, like a specific time.
She's Professor MORIMURA's
Like,
She's Professor Morimura's mentor.
Well, yeah.
Come on,
Well, yeah,
try and put this one together, baby.
This is classic, like, expository dialogue. Well, she is the foremost expert on AI, isn't she?
Something had to be wrong for me to
I mean, yeah, it's true.
You remember Professor Morimura.
really urgent problem.
Yes, Professor Morimura. Not dead-ass dead Morimura in 1985.
I'll be waiting.
Bowling for Soup would have a field day with this game.
I don't even know what that is.
That's the band that did 1985.
Oh.
That's just a stupid line I just felt like saying.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Huh. Anyway, we still got like 50 more minutes. Man, I forgot. I thought that it ended there for some reason.
I met
No, just keep going.
Anyway,
She ended up dodging.
Oh,
does
Simpsons
that
reference.
mean-
Climbing the mountain, it just keeps going.
Attends the same school as Juroku.
Okay.
Told me.
Back to 13 Sentinels, Blood on the Sand. Any thoughts?
So I want to go to.
I'd like to get your thoughts on the things that just happened.
I want to go to the one on the bottom. Okay, good.
Not likely. You're gonna have to do them in order. It's despite that's the fact. It's like it's not gonna open up the rest of it. Yeah. I was gonna talk about this before, where we were talking about time passing and whatever. Every one of Miura's, every character has their gimmick in how they do the storyline thing. Like Morimura. I mean, Fuyasaka, whatever her name is, has the thing where she goes and talks with her friends, and then they go and get crepes, and then
Huh?
it's like Miura always has all of his stories start the same way,
Okay.
where he's overlooking the city on this place.
Yeah, it's a good.
I don't know why they do it like that.
I think it's just a really good scenic way to show off the graphics.
Children in this area
That's
don't
all it
have to
is.
worry about that.
I suppose so, but still,
Honestly,
it's weird because it's very much not clear what you're supposed to do then, because every single one of the story parts starts in the same way.
Now, in fairness, if this was Baba Is You, we'd be like, "Oh, this is amazing gameplay," and then doing this Aegis thing. So, I mean,
Would we be like that?
I mean, because they're showing us the non.
How could I don't even I
They're-
they couldn't.
I mean, they're
even
introducing
compare.
the non-linear mechanic. No, I know. I'm just like, but like they're introducing
Couldn't even
the
compare those two
non-linear
games.
mechanic.
Yeah, but Baba Is You also. Did you ever play like the museum thing
I haven't. No, like I played the original the base
with
game.
the later update
No.
introduced? It's like Hempuli talks a lot about how doing the iterative level thing just did not work out most of the time.
Well, for that one, like you're almost like doing a Rube Goldberg machine, and it doesn't necessarily not a Rube Goldberg machine, but it's sophisticated. Like there's this, you want to start with like a happy path, like a solution, and then build a level around that solution, like a clever mechanic. You build it around that, and then you go back and you add distractions, so it's an actual puzzle and not just obvious. You add like
Sometimes.
I feel like that would be more germane for puzzle development. I don't know if that's right.
Here, though, it's just sometimes things just work differently.
It's more that, okay, look, this is about because we have an hour to fill, and so we just have to have opinions on things, because having opinions on things is...
I mean, I can
what
just go start playing Baba As You right
that's all
now. if I wanted to.
That's all the content is,
Still
so...
alive. She'd
I mean, it would be pretty easy to. After all, I was just playing it.
No, we should talk about the game. I mean, I want to play Baba as I want to play Baba as you very badly. It's a very good
game. I was actually just doing the museum, which is why I was talking about that.
You're switching over to Baba as you. The viewers can't see this.
And like, it's let me see.
I can't help but think we're getting off topic.
She certainly is quite.
Oh yeah, this one I couldn't quite figure out. Level 25 here. You see, it's got a okay.
But right now,
Back to the story. Anyway.
Yeah, I have more urgent matters to tend to.
Catastrophic loss.
Yeah, see,
More
despite a
urgent matters, of course,
catastrophic loss, so
being,
no alternate timeline. Japan recovered quite well, thank you.
Almost too prosperous.
Yes, too prosperous.
Supposedly ends in that history book. August of 1945.
That's what I always think. It's like, man, things in the future are going too good compared to the 1940s.
Okay.
The war, my uncle gave me a sci-fi novel.
Well, that's what Miura's thinking.
Traveling through time to the future. It
Anyway.
never felt like a far-off fantasy.
Ugh.
To think.
Man, I could, if you didn't make such a fuss about it, we could be playing Baba as you right now.
Well, it's more that, like, I don't want it to be like,
For anyone such a weapon.
let's just get through this. It's only 10 more minutes.
Nothing like it has ever existed.
10 more minutes and then 30 more episodes.
Ugh.
What was that thing?
Anyway, hey, don't, somebody desperately wanted me to play this.
Whom?
That's not true at all. This was the alternative to playing Bible Black.
I should go down.
Have we mentioned that? Yeah, I think we did in the first.
I don't think we have mentioned that.
Okay.
Basically, I outright refused to play Bible Black, so the person that wanted me to play it is just like, how about 13 Sentinels then? And I'm like, I have no idea what that is.
This game,
But okay.
This game is, the greatest of all creative inspirations. It's built on a compromise.
School. It looks nothing like the school I attended.
It's just, what if this was Bible Black? I don't know. I'm just like thinking about that right now. Like, what if I had you just sitting here watching just hardcore fucking happen on screen?
Yeah.
And we're like, man, I hate how they draw dicks in this. You're like, I don't know. I'm kind of into the plot.
Yeah, it's like maybe if you stepped out of your linearity comfort zone.
This is the school building.
We could see about this
There's where the potato
Over there is where the potato field used to be.
comfort.
Yeah, the old potato field. I think did they have you walk through a potato field in the 1944?
No, there were no potato fields. No, I can assure you that I played this entire game. There are no potato fields that appear in this entire game.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll stake my entire reputation on the lack of potato fields appearing in 13 Sentinels: Blood on the
So
Sand.
this is all in Tokyo, right?
No, this is taking place in God, I can't remember what the city is called.
Okay.
This building was
What is it?
now the floor
Okay, it's fine. I didn't know. I assumed it was Tokyo, but I realized.
I think it's a large fictional city in Japan.
Okay.
if she
That's all you really need to know.
Okay. That's fine.
Gasp. A ghost. What if they just introduced ghosts right now?
That would rule.
What if they did just have hardcore, uncensored penetration on screen right now?
words now sound
That would rule too.
how strange.
Well,
What if they just threw away the pretense of more?
Like it was all just a distant dream.
no, you're not allowed to finish it. You said it perfectly.
This
That was the
isn't
perfect
time
time.
to be getting sentimental.
But anyway,
Yeah, they did a really good job with the lighting.
they did do a great job with the light. Lighting looks great.
Like I have to say, like every scene, I'm just like, oh yeah.
So that's what we're devolving into. That was the only way we could get away from that.
Again, you just have to have an opinion on something. That's what content is.
Eat it by the Kaide River. A bento.
Oh my god!
What
wow.
do you think about a
Boy,
pineapple
this
on pizza?
episode really went off the rails in the last 15 minutes.
Nothing special.
I mean, well, Hey, when the legacy is Bible Black, do you expect anything else?
I mean,
I still have that on my computer. Like, yo, just real quick. I want you to react to it one more time.
Would you happen to know where she is?
okay.
Minami-san?
Yep.
Wow, it's just in the center there. It's just like
The
you
athletic
actually
director.
started it.
You want me to go check?
God damn it.
No, that's okay.
Oh yeah. So for dinner tonight,
Have you ever?
I
Have you
decided
actually
to have
started it?
steak. You seem to really like it.
Yes. I started it on stream once just because I'm like, okay, well, maybe if I don't show the images, but then within the first couple seconds, it's just like, whoa, okay, never mind. I don't even know if there's voice acting here, and I don't even know if that's kosher. I'm never going to get rid of that. That's going to be front and center on the screen
Yeah.
for the entire time I have this computer.
Bible Dog.
And maybe beyond.
Yeah, the Bible Black Albatross.
Just sitting there. Never played past the first 10 seconds, but also never deleted.
Everyone's staring at me. It's like, hey.
Because, despite the fact that that is a like classic thing, I don't actually think it's any good.
Sorry, I just thought it was funny because like they were like everyone is staring.
I think
at
that's
me,
one of those
and no
things
one
that-
was staring at him. Sorry.
Standing there an awfully long time. What are you doing?
There were 3 people around.
The-
None of them were looking at in remotely his direction.
How do you know her? And
I think the Bible Black is one of those things that is considered a classic because that was like the only thing that we had for a really long time that came over to the West. I don't actually think it's a classic in any other way.
Natsuno-san.
Come on.
It was more like starve for. Okay, fine, we'll move off of this already. That said, I'm not gonna fucking play that visual novel.
Really? You're not gonna play
Yo,
that on
fuck that
YouTube?
noise.
Notoriously.
Sorry I
Like-
came on.
Yeah, even me. That's right.
It's fine. I said I'd wait. So, whenever you
Notoriously rude and
exercise,
crude
you all
dude.
change into outfits that show your legs.
A sophisticated pervert for this modern age, and I'm not gonna touch that fucking thing.
Anyway, you kind of showed up at school
Ugh.
out of nowhere.
90s hentai. Ugh. Oh my god. Why? I said that this story was going. That this episode was going way off the rails, and I'm not even trying to steer it back on there, am I?
No, you're not. And I'm just letting you. I'm just letting you have it. I'm just like listening.
Natsuno-san.
You're just letting me craft my own downfall.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, whatever. Nobody's watching this fucking series. It's fine.
And no one ever will. This is one.
And no, not anymore. What if like the last 20 minutes of the episode are just silence? Like I just pumped up the game volume and we just stopped
Okay,
commenting.
but you gotta make a note that like we're at about 57:30. We have to have this little conversation in there. So
Skip to 57:30 for an explanation as to where all the commentary went.
We could go to the building I used back in my time. It seemed to be empty.
The old school building. We can go in there?
Yes, it was open.
All right. Then we'll talk about it there. Let's go. I always thought this place would be locked up. We should be good here.
Well, anyway,
let's see.
what has happened in the video since we started talking about this? I've
I
forgotten.
don't know.
Of course.
This,
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
It wasn't involving time travel, so I stopped paying attention, which is hypocritical of me because I'm criticizing.
I'm waiting for the next big twist already. Oh, it's been 5 minutes.
It's BJ.
Oh,
He's an alien from the future.
that's great timing.
This isn't a big twist. We already know that Natsuno has the robot.
Yeah, okay.
BJ's looking for the robot he used
That
to
is
get here.
the furthest
I'm
thing
helping
from
him
one.
find it.
A robot?
Does the word Sentinel ring a bell?
Yes,
Okay.
we know so much about Sentinels, and yet so little.
Sentinel from back in 1945 belongs to BJ's alien friend.
So there are aliens.
Yeah, aliens.
Them too.
How does
I mean, it could be aliens, despite the.
made by
Did she say it was made by aliens? Yeah, I think so. I think that was the last
created by
piece of dialogue that we got.
I don't need to tell you.
Yeah, the old
But There was
Keitaro's
maybe
not
capable of time
very
travel.
good at piecing things together. But it's like
In fairness, who is? And in fairness, this is very difficult to piece together.
we could have been playing Bava as you right now.
That's true. We did not.
We could have been piecing things together, but you didn't want to.
Yeah, I made a bad choice. It's my
They
fault.
don't
Yeah.
dabble in alien technology.
Yeah, you could have helped me out with that train level, man.
Weapons, and BJ is no weapon.
Because I'm really look. I get like the basics of how you would want
If he's
to
just a
do
Sentinel,
it, but
explain how he can talk.
not the entire thing though. That's a problem.
Don't be a jerk, Miura-kun. BJ isn't some kind of robot. This is just a
Okay,
spacesuit.
not a robot actually.
Aliens come in all shapes
An
and
alien.
sizes. My guess is the
Mm-hmm.
only thing inside that suit is BJ's brain.
Brain in a jar alien
Ooh.
or something. Now, so far we have not seen any proof of that claim. In fact, I believe that in the future we saw A just shooting down what he called a drone that looked exactly like BJ, but whatever. Look, let's just let the Knots know have this.
Yeah.
The truth?
Why would the drone robot look like a Kirby enemy? I don't know. Ask people in the future. There's also talking cats in this
I
game.
came from 1945.
Incorrect. Your log proves otherwise.
Okay.
My log?
Yeah.
Yes, what
And
kind
then
of logs
are they
going to
show
referring to?
the scene from 2188 to
This
them
log.
both?
What? What makes you think that they're going to do something like that?
I don't know. Just the hunch.
Professor,
Oh,
Oh, hey, look, scenes from
wait,
2188.
really? I was right.
Well, they're using the exact unless this just happens to be a character that looks the exact same as the character they use in the 2188 scenes.
Who's Takamiya, by the way?
What the heck?
Yuki Takamiya is delinquent girl.
Okay, yeah.
Girl delinquent.
Okay, yeah, I can see like her eyes. Yeah, okay. The eyes are
The hair,
are
really.
very yeah, but the eyes are actually selling it for me.
has the front line.
Okay, fair enough.
Honestly, they did a good.
Also, the name. I mean, the name is the thing that really sells it more than anything
I think
else.
they did a good job with the eyes. Like they really do look the same throughout, and it really does establish the character really well. It's just
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean,
minor artistic detail.
You know, you two.
likes and it's too tiny here. You can't really see.
What?
Thumbnail for that video. Mom.
You know I'm only kidding.
You can't make jokes like that in a game like this. You just can't do it.
Of course I do.
What?
It's too confusing.
All the trouble with your father.
What she just said, Mom.
On good terms.
Oh, so wait, so she actually meant it.
It's okay, Mom.
Okay.
I want to be.
Yeah, no, that was not a joke.
I know.
Oh, so that's extremely confusing.
Yuki-chan's my mom?
Yes.
Right there.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Professor.
Sorry for what? Sorry for being confused.
Shuttle will have to take off.
All right. I'll see you at Sector 3 in 14 hours.
We'll be waiting for you at landing zone
Okay.
10.
So we gotta go to landing zone.
Okay, well,
10.
are you starting to understand a little bit more of the plot line now?
No,
Spreading.
much less. I understand.
Are things becoming actually less clear over time as we're doing this?
I know less and I understand. I know little and I understand less.
Known knowns and known unknowns.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, this is 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. I hope you've all been enjoying and will enjoy for the foreseeable
How
future.
many episodes are left? Like 30?
Recorded.
Well, okay, 13 times 2 plus 3 for the prologue plus 1 final episode.
Possible.
And then we've done about 7.
Oh wait,
8 episodes.
and one of the characters only has one part because it's kind of short.
Okay.